promote hookup culture. I promote men taking fucking TRT. There's no fucking controversy with any of this shit. I completely, if a man wants to go through a period in his life in his 20s where he wants to sleep with a lot of women, I am completely in favor of that. If a man wants to become, chooses to not sleep with a lot of women, I'm in favor of that too. What the main thing that they have in common in both cases, be the most attractive version of yourself, and then you will have the choice to hook up or to make this girl your girlfriend or for it to be a one-night stand. But you as a man should at least have that option. Then what happens is after you've done this over and over again and gotten more experience in this area, now you're going to see these red flags. Like I've been out with girls before and they're bitching about their ex. Their tattoos in places there shouldn't be fucking tattoos, but she's still really hot. And like, I already know, it's like, hey, like, and I'll straight up tell them, like, I'm not looking to be in a relationship, but if you want to hook up, we can still do that. I know immediately by seeing those red flags where I'm going to go. But how do I know that? It's from dating lots of women. And so that's the thing that I appreciate about whatever they call hookup culture, or what Rollo calls spinning plates. No one's telling you to fuck 100 women. What they're telling you to do, though, is have enough experience and to make yourself attractive enough to where when you meet that perfect girl, you're not like, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what to do because you have enough. You've seen every blitz package there is. You've seen the Engage 8. You've seen Cover 4. You've seen, Cover 2, man. You've seen every single blitz package there is. So you know what that looks like. So now when you meet that girl, you have the experience to do that. As a woman who's very attractive and has a low body count, she doesn't have to do that. She doesn't need experience. A stunning woman doesn't need experience dating. She doesn't.
No.
She doesn't. No, she needs experience to know when a guy's a piece of shit or not, but she doesn't need to fuck him in order to do that. She can do that through male family members or female friends who can help her. Hey, let me look at the background of this guy that you're dating. She can do that through social media. Women, super attractive women, sorry to tell you this, they don't need to be good in bed and they don't need to learn how to date. They're super attractive. Don't worry about that. That's not something that they have to do in order to improve. Men, we do because we're judged on our performance.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good rant right there. No, that was perfect. I agree with all of it. I think there's two things that you said that stand out to me. One is, I think, a more general thing that I think a problem, not now, this is a problem always, is people get too wrapped up in like caring about what other people do and what other people do with their lives. There's a general benefit to just not being bitter towards other people. That includes being bitter towards men who are more successful than you, being bitter towards women who want to hook up with a lot of guys. I think the best way to live life is not to like worry too much about other people are doing, because that's just going to cause, there's no win there, right? That's only negative. That's anxiety. You're going to get caught up worrying about all these other problems that aren't your own. And then your life's probably not going to be as good because you're just not going to be prioritizing like the action you're taking in your own life. But the second thing is, I think there's guys who are early on in their journey with women. They get so focused on all these little things that we're talking about. And maybe it's about body count. Maybe it's just generally approach anxiety. Maybe it's, I don't know, absorbing all these different dating advice content or red pill content and trying to figure it out. But the real challenge comes in like building a healthy relationship, right? I think like once you figure out like the early stages of dating, meeting girls, hooking up with girls, that's relatively straightforward. It's almost like copy paste, basically. It's more like learning to set boundaries at the right times in the beginning of relationships that most people, men and women, aren't good at, which is why most relationships are quite not ideal. And I think that there's also just a lack of focus on that, but I guess it's less sexy than talking about all the other stuff. But if people started actually learning from mistakes that they made or their friends made or their parents made in their relationships, that would lead to better overall relationships. But I guess we don't live in an ideal world. Yeah, that's something that I get frustrated with.
Yeah, it's funny how, because your married friends or your friends that are in happy relationships are not your super exciting friends. So people don't pay as much attention to it. One of the things I started doing on Access Vegas is I tried as often as I can to have people who have been in 10-year relationships. So I had Olivia Bertani, who was engaged, and then I had, sitting over here, I had Catherine Taylor, who's also engaged in the program, and then on the show. And then the other thing is, I have other friends of mine. My friend Claudia Fajal has been with her husband for 10 years. I see situations like you, who is a content creator who's in a happy relationship. People don't pay enough attention to that. Here's the ultimate example. People in Red Pill who criticize Rollo Tomassi for being married for 26 years. Like, you're missing the point. That's not a bug, it's a feature. Being able to be in a happy relationship for 26 years, that means Rollo knows something you don't. right? And so that's one of the situations where it's more fun to watch the guy who has the multiple partners and is with a bunch of women. It's more exciting, but that's maybe not the person you should be taking relationship advice from. And so I thought that was interesting. Another thing I wanted to point out, going back to the body count thing, is we had the opposite effect, which was Sterling Cooper, who was on here, who's a male porn star. And one of the things Sterling said is like, when a man is good in bed, it is the ultimate sign of pre-selection because it shows that other women allowed you to have sex with them. And I was just like, that was mind blowing to me because pre-selection is obviously like one of the main things that I teach to my clients is this concept of women seeing you with other women and those women being attracted to you. And so when he said that, I was like, oh man, that makes a lot of sense. Well, the only way to do that is to have experience with women, which is why women do not value virginity anywhere near to the level that men do. Because I personally, like, if a woman's hot enough and she's not bad in bed, if she's not good in bed, we don't really care. And if a woman tries to, this is maybe not your opinion, but I've heard other men say this. The concept of if a woman tries too hard to be good in bed, then it comes off as almost masculine. I can see that.
I would agree. It's the same thing if like a woman approaches you, it can come off as masculine. And even though you fantasize about it and you see it in porn, if when it actually happens to you in real life, you kind of get this weird feeling like, like something's off here. It's because I guess we're just not naturally wired to appreciate.
Our alarms go up. Yeah. Our
alarm
bells go off.
Something's going on here. Yeah. And no, I think what you're saying is true about in bed. And I think women who, as this is something you mentioned a few times, women who are attractive, you're right. They don't really have to do anything, right? They'll definitely have people pursuing them. They'll definitely have no problem getting laid or getting in relationships. I would say the only real requirement above being attractive would also be if they want to be with a high value guy, they need to be attractive and they also need to be like as a bare minimum, like pleasant to be around. Yes. If they're not, they'll still have no problem finding guys to pursue them, but they're probably not going to have a high value guy who actually has his choice with women because once you've hooked up with, your handful of women, at least for me, what happened was, yes, the attractiveness was still the number one thing, but I wasn't going to spend time with someone who was like, it seemed like I was pulling, nails to hang out with them.